When narcissists can't handle losing, witness their dark side. Welcome back, everyone. Your continued loyalty fuels our exhilarating journeys, and today's adventure dives deep into the murky depths of the psyche's darkest underbelly, the harrowing moment when a narcissist faces the stark truth that they have lost everything. Pause for a moment, allow the gravity of this chilling revelation to sink in. And if our exploration awakens something inside you, support our quest by liking, subscribing, and generously sharing our content with your loved ones. For a comprehensive understanding of narcissism, we recommend our free course, Narcissism 101, revealing the red flags, escaping captivity, and building a reimagined life. Check the description for the link to unlock a wealth of insights. So today, let's delve deep into the cataclysmic ripple effect when a narcissist finally admits that they're losing everything. At the center of this seismic realization lies the narcissist, once arrogant and blind to their inadequacies, now awakening to the painful truth that they have surrendered a priceless treasure: you. This epiphany transcends the confines of one shattered relationship and permeates their entire dysfunctional world, as they're relentlessly confronted with piercing clarity. However, let's get down to brass tacks. Narcissism's corrosive influence doesn't just stop with one person. The narcissist's treacherous schemes spread like a virus, destruction in their wake. With their calculating subversion and cunning deceit, the narcissist spins a tangled web, ensnaring unsuspecting victims in their machinations. You may not have even realized the reality of this when you first entered the relationship. But as you process these shocking revelations, I'm certain you'll begin to see the truth more clearly. Now, when the narcissist finally reaches their ultimate downfall, their anguished introspection unravels with regret as they painfully confront the fact that they're not omniscient beings, but mere mortals like everyone else. They'll retrace their steps, surveying the wreckage they've caused, lamenting the shattered possibilities, severed relationships, and ruined lives. Only then will they soberly understand that leading a life of deception, manipulation, and funny smiles ultimately results in an empty, lonely existence. Meanwhile, for the traumatized casualties of the narcissist's relational terrorism, healing crawls along with the grace of a snail on tranquilizers. It requires Herculean endurance, unyielding grit, and a willingness to confront every jagged wound head-on. But with an unwavering spirit, you'll eventually make progress, carving a path towards recovery and slowly taking back the autonomy that the manipulative narcissist devoured. As you trek along the winding path to recovery, a crucial conundrum looms. Should you soften your heart and grant forgiveness to the narcissist for the unspeakable horrors they inflicted upon your soul? Or is forgiveness a delusional mirage forever out of reach? But before you can even entertain those thoughts, prepare for a grueling journey ahead, a painstaking process that starts with breaking the trauma bond, losing relationships, and possibly even uprooting your life entirely. Don't be fooled. Forgiving a narcissist is as improbable as spontaneous combustion. These parasitic beings worm their way into your heart with their manipulation and trickery, dragging you down into a bottomless abyss of despair, leaving a trail of shattered hearts behind them. If you knew they were a walking hurricane of destruction, would you have ever embarked on this perilous expedition? Of course not. The narcissist's duplicitous nature thrives on inflicting misery, leaving behind a legacy of broken lives and shattered dreams. Narcissists are fully aware of the destruction they leave in their wake as they carelessly move from one individual or group to the next. Eventually, however, their negligence will catch up with them, and they will recognize what they've lost. It is both satisfying and exciting to witness their demise. However, if you are still entangled in the trauma bond, your perspective may be distorted. You may have hoped that the narcissist would accept responsibility for their abhorrent behavior and provide closure. However, we must admit that this is not their approach. They lack concern for you, not one iota. When a narcissistic relationship terminates, the individual does not immediately move on to the next objective. Oh no, they are patiently waiting for the right opportunity to dispose you as if you were yesterday's garbage. It's a nightmare pattern, but it's their standard tactic. They are skilled at identifying their next prey, someone who can satisfy their desires. However, do not let your defenses down. A narcissist may, one day, reflect on sunnier times, including memories with you. However, this is merely a stratagem to retain you as a valuable resource. You are nothing more than a trinket that fuels their insatiable ego in their eyes. If you find yourself in the throes of a divorce with a narcissistic partner, prepare for an arduous, gut-wrenching journey. Why, you ask? Because they know your worth. To them, you're the perfect source of light, love, and empathy, everything they need to fuel their insatiable ego. And they can't bear to part with that source, hence the never-ending divorce proceedings. It's crucial to grasp the harsh reality of narcissists. They possess a formidable talent for consuming you, chipping away at your essence, and stealing whole decades of your life before you even realize what hit you. The narcissist painfully acknowledges what they're losing as you sever ties and walk away. They're acutely aware of what they're sacrificing by being discarded by you. Although before and after you, they had other sources of supply to compare you against, always assessing what they were missing. We're all unique individuals, but what you provided for the narcissist was magical, exclusive, and priceless. You were their light, the fuel that kept their engine running, and you never gave up on the relationship. You believed in your vows, but to the narcissist, they were just a license to start abusing you. They never saw love, kindness, or stability in your relationship. To them, you were just a tool to satiate their sadistic cravings. Once the relationship with a narcissist ends, they'll inevitably come back to hoover you up. Have you ever pondered the term? Essentially, it's when they lack a legitimate supply of fuel, or perhaps they do have one, but they crave more of what you can offer. Your unwavering presence, support, and emotional availability acted as fuel for their fragile ego. They recognized that you made them feel great about themselves, aided them financially, and listened without judgment. Therefore, when they try to hoover you back into their life, bear this in mind. Their aim is to lure you back into the same endless cycle of pain and manipulation. They desire another round of punishment, and they'll stop at nothing to reinstate their control. It's downright ghastly, but that's how they operate. Will a narcissist ever acknowledge what they lost? Sure they will, no doubt about it. But let's be real, do they have the integrity to admit their faults? Not a chance. As far as they're concerned, they're superior to you. Everything is always your fault. How many times did the narcissist apologize genuinely? How often did you see real tears streaming down their face, not just 2 drops of crocodile tears on their shirt? They'd swear that they'd transform and pleaded with you to give them one more opportunity, but it was just a word salad. In the end, you expended everything, your time, energy, and effort, and they greedily consumed it like a bottomless void. At the start of the relationship, everything was rapid fire because the narcissist was eager to rope you into their twisted game of manipulation. Yet, as time passed, their response time slowed down dramatically, leaving you flummoxed. Did they grow weary of you? Did they discover another source of fuel? Who knows? The only thing you need to grasp is that if a relationship seems too perfect, trust your gut. Chances are, there's a game being played. Once the narcissist snared you, they commenced playing all kinds of manipulative games. They knew how to push your buttons, what tactics to use, and how to make you come running back for more. Let's face it, you were camped out by the phone, hoping and praying for a text from them. But as time ticked on, the texts dwindled, and even when they did reply, it was a measly one-word answer, sometimes riddled with errors. It felt like they couldn't care less. While they were texting multiple people and engaging in full-blown conversations, you were stuck with one-word replies. What the hell was that all about? Why were you only worthy of one-word answers when everyone else got a whole novel? The solution to the phone debacle is plain and simple. They're moving on to their next victim. They're restarting the cycle of manipulation that they did with you. It's an unending pattern that won't stop until you break free or they discard you. However, eventually, the narcissist will realize what they forfeited. They'll notice that their toxic actions have destroyed relationships with their kids, colleagues, and associates. People are catching on to their games and excluding them. Oh, and let's not forget about their long-term friends that everyone mentions when talking about narcissists. Simply because they've had a companion for 20 years doesn't indicate they're good friends. Odds are they're just another tool the narcissist uses to maintain their facade or gain something for themselves. They can't conceal their facade indefinitely. Eventually, it'll falter and people will discern their real nature. They'll ruin relationships left and right, whether sooner or later. That's just how they roll. Do you want to know why people don't instantly realize they're dealing with a narcissist? Well, it could be because they grasp the truth, but they're too afraid to speak up in terror of becoming the next victim. Or secondly, they don't spend sufficient time with a narcissist to witness their authentic character. Simple as that. Most of the mistreatment from a narcissist takes place when you're by yourselves, whether in the car or at home. That's when they release their facade and transform into a monster right before your eyes. But out in public, they're all smiles and grace. They want to maintain the idea that they're a wonderful person. In the meantime, you're their emotional, spiritual, and financial punching bag. The narcissist will eventually realize that they lost you. Trust me, they know it, but will never confess since they believe they're superior to everyone else. They were aware of how much you meant to them, yet they utilized you and then discarded you like yesterday's news. But here's the big reveal. You're now tougher than ever before, emerging from the experience as the best version of yourself. The game's finished for the narcissist now. You're living your ultimate life, while they're out there ruining more relationships with unsuspecting people. But they will apprehend that they lost. Why? Because they genuinely did. You've got this situation under control. Remain strong, be true to yourself, and keep believing in your capabilities. You're not battling this alone. And until our next exchange, let the recovery begin.